At some point in one's journey, they come to a deep realization that you can't find God. You shouldn't even seek God. There's no seeking God. How can you seek something you don't know? It's very much more like you have entered into a hot air balloon which is tethered to the ground. You've never been in such a balloon. In fact, you've never flown up into the sky. You can't even imagine what it would be like because you've never had the experience ever. Never been in the air at all and never looked down upon the land from the sky or even seen pictures. So you have no possible way of knowing what the experience is going to be like. If you spend your time in the balloons, in the basket, trying to imagine the experience, trying to have that experience, trying to find that experience, looking around the basket, looking up in the air, it ain't going to happen. The only way you're truly going to have that experience is by untying the tether. The rest is unknown to you. Where you're tied down, you understand that. There's a rope, it ties to a stake in the ground. It's holding the balloon down. The only thing you know is that that has to go. That whatever the experience is, which you have no idea what it is, nothing. There's no reason to imagine it because you've never had it. So you can't know it. But you know that that is holding you from whatever it is. Therefore, your work is not to seek the experience, it's to untie the tether and permit the experience to take place as ever it will, which you can't understand. I guess it's scary. Better to imagine the experience and then try to have it, because then it's under your control. But the truth of the matter is you can't have the experience that way. It is something you've never experienced, therefore it will not be in your control, and it has nothing to do with anything you could ever imagine. The mind cannot know God. The mind has nothing to do with God. It would be like if you looked in a mirror or your reflection in a lake and you said, "That's me." No, it's not you. It really has very little to do with you. It is a reflection in the lake. You are something quite different. You are that which is reflecting in the lake. No part of you is in that lake. If you try to find yourself in that lake, it's nothing. It's not going to help you. The further you go toward knowing yourself through that reflection in the lake, the further you get away from yourself. In fact, you have to stop looking at the reflection in the lake. If you're so interested that the closest you've ever come to knowing yourself is that reflection in the lake, so you try to get closer to it, you try to understand the reflection better, every time you do, you're getting further away from yourself because you're projecting your consciousness outwardly. And you, of course, exist where you exist, not out there. So it's very simple stuff. You can't know God through the mind. It's not like, but you can get close. You can't get close. It takes you further away from the direct experience for you to attempt to create a fictitious or imaginary experience within your mind. So you get to a point in your journey, if you're sincere, where you realize you're not going to find God. It is not something you're going to do. It's not a doing thing. The only doing you can do is to untie the rope that ties the balloon down. If you were to untie that rope and focus on that rope instead of running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to find God, you just untie the rope. The balloon will rise naturally. It has nothing to do with you. And you will have experiences that are beyond yourself. That's the true path. It is not something you can walk. It is something that takes you. The only thing you can do is to stop resisting, is to stop holding on, is to stop clinging, is to stop trying to keep yourself plus find God. The analogy of the hot air balloon, when you bring it to your personal growth, is very simple. You have to die to be reborn. There's Christ. Man minus mind equals God. There's Meher Baba. While you are there, God is not. Your very presence of knowing yourself as something separate and individual is what keeps you locked and caught in the finite. You can't both stay caught in the finite plus know the infinite. You have to release yourself as you know yourself. Eventually you will understand your entire path is letting go of yourself, not finding God. Letting go of yourself. It is not a finding, it is a releasing. And that's because the truth is, just as that hot air balloon will naturally rise up, you will naturally rise up. Spirit always rises up. Spirit loves spirit. It will return to spirit in and of itself. There's nothing for you to do, no pranayamas, no nothing. Spirit will go up unless there's something holding it down. Just as that helium balloon will go up. Hot air balloon will go up unless there's something tethering it, something holding it down. So to the true yogi, it's not about books. It's not about asanas. It's not about practices. It's not about teachings. It's about letting go of that which is anchoring you. If you constantly and perpetually let go of what is anchoring you, you will end up not anchored. That's as close as you can get. Look, there's no room for mind there. It's not that you will end up somewheres. It will unfold in and of itself. It is a natural path. How does one let go of the anchor? Well, first of all, how do you know you are the anchor? Just watch. Watch what happens on a daily basis. You're sitting on a planet, spinning around the middle of absolutely nowheres. You're only here for a few years. It should be a very easy thing to just be here and go about the journey and then leave. Nothing happening. It's a nothing. But you can't. Every day has its threats and its fears and its desires and all of its drawing toward and away from. That noise is you. It doesn't exist in this world. This world does not have that kind of energy. The world has no need. The world has no desirable and undesirable, likable and not likable. You project those things onto the innocence of life. So you give up on that game. You give up on judging altogether. And you just watch. What part of this world is holding you down? Well, you're going to find there's only one part that's holding you down, and that's you. This person is not holding you down. The person goes about their business. It is your attachment or repulsion to that person that is causing you to keep interacting on this plane. Nothing on this plane holds you here. Nothing. It is your psyche, your desires, your fears, your hopes, your dreams, your beliefs that projects the energy externally. If your mind says you like something, then you don't want to leave the world because you like it. If your mind says you don't like something, you fear something, then you don't want to leave the world because it might get you. So in either event, you are projecting your own inner state onto the innocence of this world. And that's the tether. Just as the rope holds down the hot air balloon, it is your psyche that holds you here. Your psyche has built within itself these thoughts, these hopes, these dreams, concepts, views, opinions, preferences, beliefs, rights and wrongs. It has built that up, and then it looks out into the world through that. And then your energy, your heart, your soul, your chi, your shakti, is projected out into form because of that. It is either projected for and tries to cling and grab and get external, or is against, tries to keep away and push and protect yourself from. But in either event, you ain't going nowheres. You're staying here. Why? Because you did that. It's not a punishment. It's just the law. Am I being punished because the tether, the rope, is holding down the hot air balloon? No. It's just an anchor and it happens to be tied. You're not punished, untie it, you're not tied. It's that simple. Stop doing that with your psyche and you will go to God instantaneously. That's how long it takes. That's how long it takes for that hot air. You do anything you can to get that hot air balloon up, but don't untie the rope. You can be there a long time. And it doesn't matter what you do. I don't care what you do. Build a better balloon, paint the rope, all kinds of pretty pictures, do mantras and arti to it, or do whatever you want. Clue you in. It's physics. If you don't untie the rope, you ain't going up. This is metaphysics. If you don't untie the rope, you're not going up. I don't care what you do. People miss that. They sit there and they're very attracted to something and repulsed by something else, for and against. They get on a spiritual journey and they say, oh, look at this. That's what's holding me down. I'm attracted to this and I'm afraid of that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to renounce that which I'm attracted to. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to keep it away from me. And I'm going to stand there boldly when that which I'm afraid of comes to me. So you're going to stay here on this plane. You're going to paint the rope a different color. I'll move it over here, or I'll do this, I'll do that. You didn't untie anything. You played opposite day. That which I used to like, I won't, and that which I used to be afraid of, I'll stay with. And that result, you didn't change anything of any interest to a yogi. You kept a psyche attached to this world. You kept defining your spirituality in relationship to this world, either for something or renouncing something. In both cases, you are leaving impressions upon your psyche which are causing your chi, your shakti, your energy to project outward, either to get or keep away from. That's your anchor. And eventually you get to understand this. You are your own anchor. When it's all said and done, you have to die to be reborn. You want to experience something other than yourself, you have to let go of yourself. And divinity, spirituality, Satchidanand, is not how you now know yourself. Therefore it is other than yourself. Therefore you have to let go of yourself to become something other than yourself. Meher Baba said, where you are not, God is. Does this sound like parables? They're not parables. They're very simple. Because where you are, that's how you know yourself as an individual. All right? As long as I'm here, how can God be here? This thing that keeps thinking finitely and keeps projecting itself out onto objects of this world. That's what my self-concept is. That's what my personal self is. While that's there, God can't be there. Because the energy is being used to do that. The very divine spiritual energy that would take you into samadhi is being used to do all this stuff. So you get to the point where you realize, and it's all said and done, all the rest is child's play. When are you going to actually do something meaningful? Let go of yourself. Find me the one who is actually attempting to untie the rope that ties down the basket. That's some serious stuff. Everybody else is running around building things, and there's this one person who caught on. 1 in a million. And all they're doing day and night is trying to pull those knots out. They're not trying to get more stuff in. They don't need more of this. They don't need more of that. They're just trying to untie that knot every single minute. When the wind blows a certain way and the rope goes, they know just what they're doing. They try to get that part of the knot out. No matter what's happening, day and night, they are working on tying that knot, because that wise being saw at some point what was going on. This thing I'm in is trying to go up by itself. There's something holding it down. What else is there to do but disconnect the two? That's how a yogi lives inside. The yogi, the great yogi, is the one that has seen, I am my own anchor. While I am here as I know myself, there cannot be greater than me. I am willing to die to be reborn. How? Every single second of every single minute, day and night, you, like a hawk, have a center of conscious awareness, and you are observing this dance of the anchor. You are watching the anchor be an anchor. You are watching what energy grabs out toward. You are watching what energy reviles in. You are watching the heart open. You are watching it close. You are watching the mind try to come up with answers of how to do things, to fix things and solve things. And whoa, you're just watching the dance of this psyche, of this anchor. And you've learned over time how to use the dance itself to get rid of itself. How? It's so subtle and so beautiful. When it tries to go left, do you go right? No. That's too much doership. It's just another thing to do. When it tries to go left, do you pull it back and stop it? Oh, absolutely not. That's just another thing to do. When it tries to go left, you let go of the reins. You do not try to steer it this way. You do not try to hold it back. It is energy out of habit attempting to move toward what it thinks is a solution, but really it's a problem. Any place this energy moves other than up, I guarantee you, ends up being a problem, not a solution. But it's habit. It's trying to fix itself. It's a very primal dance, this movement of the Shakti, of the Chi. When it moves left, you let go. What does that mean? When it moves left, it tries to take you with it, to involve you in its process. You just relax instead. Permit it to go where it wants to go. Pay no attention to it. But you don't go with it. You keep falling back away from it and letting go of it. That's what you do when it moves left. When it moves right, you release it. You keep letting go of the reins. You have heretofore attempted to really hold those reins and guide them and use the mind's thought processes and all of its intellect and intelligence and reasoning power to decide how best to guide all of this toward what? Just things. They're things outside yourself. And you're trying to use the Chi, the Shakti, to get them. I told you, you will get to the point where you're tired of just changing how you're steering. Because it doesn't matter. You take the low road, you take the high road, and no one's going anywhere. Because it ain't outside. You let go of the reins. Never to touch them again. You release yourself from this dance that's happening below you. You are the witness. You watch all this go on. So why are you participating in it? It has nothing to do with you. It's just like watching weather come and go. It's like watching anything else on Earth. This belongs to Earth. It seems to like Earth a great deal, doesn't it? It keeps wanting to go out and do stuff, and render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. But include that lower dance of the Chi. Let it belong to life. You let it go. The amazing part is, to whatever degree you let it go, it lets you go. You think it's binding you. You're wrong. You're binding it. The world is just going about its business. This person's trying to go somewhere. She's leaving me. No, she's not leaving you. She's trying to go somewhere. You're the one who's defining her movement in relationship to you. That's why you're holding on to the energy. And as long as you are holding on to the energy, then that which is the energy is relating to is holding on to you. But you're doing it. There's nobody else doing anything. You don't need to change a single thing in this world. The world is fine. It's going about its business. It's being a world. And basically it goes about its business to the extent that your psyche has been foolish enough to attempt to find the solution to its own problems by tying its reins, its rope, to this stuff outside, for or against. You're going for quite a ride, aren't you? Whoa! It'll pull you all over the place. You wait till you see where you go, including your little spiritual journey. It doesn't matter. As long as you're trying to solve your inner problem by projecting your solutions outside, you're going for a ride. Let go. Take your hands off. The energies will move. It seems like they're going to go crazy, out of control. They won't. They're just as the body can run itself, just as the blood can run itself, just as the liver and the kidney can run themselves. Why in the world do you think that this lower dance of the Shakti can't take care of itself? In fact, it can take care of itself perfectly well. It can come into its own harmony, but you won't let it. Because your deep-seated problems inside, you're attempting to use this dance of the Chi, of the Shakti, to control and manipulate outside to get it the way you need it to be okay inside. And you will never, ever do so. Nobody has ever done so. There is no condition of the outside that will have you be okay inside. If you haven't caught that one on yet, you haven't opened your eyes. Anytime you get what you think you want, it changes. What changes? Both what you want and the thing. So it doesn't matter. If it stays the way you wanted it, you don't want it no more. If you change, then it's not what you want. It just doesn't stay that way. Anytime you get what you want something else. It has to be that way. Want to know why? Because you're not okay. You have come up with conditions that you think will make it better. You think will make it okay. They won't. Getting a car is not going to fix your broken heart. Eating ain't going to do it either. And they say shopping works well for depression. Not really. Okay, I mean, have your hair done or buy a new suit or something. You go on a vacation. It's not going to do it. Temporarily, it distracts you from your problem. That's all it can do, is distract you from your problem. It didn't make your problem go away. It's coming back. Don't worry about it. All right? So net is, you can't solve an inner problem outside, but you're trying. And the very fact that you have going on inside what it is that's going to be needed and what's going to fix you is sheer ignorance. And then if you get it, for a moment, it's like, whoa, wow, that's neat, right? And then because it didn't really fix the problem, it just distracted you, the moment you tune back in, you find the problem's still there, you will have to come up with something else to solve it because this didn't solve it. I experimented once. I went to people, I said, I want a list of what it is that you think will make you happy. And not a single person listed the things they already have. Because you already know they don't make you happy. You already got those. Done, been there, done there, tried that. It don't work. So if you really want to be happy, list the things that will make you really happy. You're always listing stuff you don't have. So once you get it and you realize it didn't do it, you'll pick something else. So the yogi is very deep. You sit there and you observe the dance of your inner chi. It used to run you. Now you don't run it. You don't want to run it. It's not, pranayama is not what you think it is. You do not want to control that energy. Why? Because then you have to stay here to control that energy. For you to leave, there can't be anything holding you down. No anchor. It's not just a matter of outside. It's even inside. As long as you're holding that energy together and being a certain way and having a self-concept of some spiritual being, then when it comes time to leave, you won't know how to leave. Because you're too busy working with yourself. It can all happen very, very quickly. There's no reason it doesn't happen instantaneously, except you're not able to. But it can. Let go. Just let go. Notice who notices. And then pay attention to who notices instead of what it notices. And what do I do about what it notices? Let go. Then the one who notices can go. The hot air balloon can go up if you let go of the tether. Now it becomes fascinating the more you look, because you're sitting there trying to untie those knots. You know, a few people get those knots untied. You want to know why? Very few even realize that's what's causing the tether. The reason the balloon don't go up is because they're sitting there and this thing's tied to a rope. And then finally they catch on. They say, wow. They sit there and they're trying to untie this thing and they can't quite figure it out. You want to know why? It's not tied. It is the very act that you are holding on to it, even to try and untie it. You are what are holding it. There is no link between that balloon and that rope except you. It's paper chains. It's fictitious. There are no knots. There's apparent knots. Sure seems like it's hard to let go of, isn't it? Of course it's not hard to let go of. Some people come to me and say, I just haven't gotten over my ex. My last was 5 years now. What can I do? Let go. There, it's gone. Well, it's not that easy. Sure it is. Why would it not be that easy? They're just thoughts. If you let them go, they go away. They're like clouds in the sky. You're running after the clouds. You say, I'm so tired of looking at the same clouds. Stop running. Stop chasing the cloud and it won't be there anymore. Stop expending Shakti and Chi toward this thought form about the past, which is dead. And guess what? It's gone. That's how long it takes. Period. It's all about your willingness to let go. It's not about letting go. Letting go, just let go. All right? You are holding on to the rope that is keeping you tethered. So you don't have to take any rope untying classes. It's not even hard. It's about willingness to release the rope. Now, that sounds good, but people have trouble with it. I'll show you the type of trouble people have. Somebody comes and says, I have a problem with something happened in the past and I want to know how to let it go. There's no answer to that. You understand that? In the end, you gotta let go. You can either do it in the end or you can do it in the beginning. And when it's said and done, every single technique that was ever taught, in the end, you have to let go. So it's up to you as to how much time you want to take or what you want to get into. But basically, your technique for your liberation is as follows. You think you want to let go of this thing. And what happens is, while you're playing with it, you're trying to find it, you go to therapy, you do things, and you're trying to think you're trying to let go. Then all of a sudden something happens. Your mother calls, or the person calls, or the person's second ex-wife calls, wants to talk to you. Something happens that's out of your control, and all of a sudden, thing shows up in spades. That little thing you've been looking for. It has a way of showing up when you weren't asked for, isn't it? And you get scared, don't you? It comes up much realer than what you were willing to deal with. God, it's like I wanted this little meditation. Oh, Mane Padme. Oh, we're doing good. Oh, no, we're not. All right? You're trying to keep it under your control. Watch what happens when it itself comes up to release. You push it back down so fast, whoop, like that. What did you just do? You just gain control of that energy. Which energy? The very energy you said you were going to find that thing and let it go. I mean, let it go. I just tried to go. I have to grab it and hold it back so I can let it go. Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. Letting it go means hands off. It is not something you grab and then do. Are you willing, when it comes up, to keep your hands off? Because I'm telling you, it did not come up to cause harm. It looks like it did, but it did not. It came up to release. It doesn't want to be in there. It wants to continue its journey through the universe. You grabbed it and trapped it inside of you. It was the past. It wants to catch up with the rest of its friends, with the rest of its energy. But you held it inside of you. You held these certain circumstances inside of you. The whole rest of 1966 is gone already. But when Mommy yelled at you, that one stayed inside of you. It has to go catch up with the rest. And it has tremendous power to do so. You know that. Look how much power it takes to hold it down. It will try to come up. Are you willing to let it? It's that simple. What do I do when it tries to come up? Just to even ask the question like that is to say, I don't really want to let it go. You're not really asking what do I do when it comes up. I already told you, don't do anything. Let it come up. Let it go. Sit there. Fall back behind it. Keep your hands to yourself. Let it release itself. All right? But you say, what do I do when it came up? What you mean is, I don't want to feel it. I don't have to go through that experience. Well, then you don't want to go to God. Because if you don't want to let go of that rope, then you don't want to take a hot air balloon ride. And you can stand there all day and think about what it'll be like, but you'll never find out. And that's just playing with your mind. You have to be willing to let go of the rope. There are lots of conditions and situations where you have the opportunity to let go of the rope. One of them is what I just described. When something from the past is trying to release. It knows how to release itself. You're the captor. It's not hurting you. You're holding on to it. And that's what, by the way, meditation and yoga and all these things, what they're about is getting you centered enough, practicing, if you will, so that when this energy moves, you can keep your hands to yourself. They are not the journey. They are practice devices so that when the journey confronts you, you are prepared, better ready to utilize it for your liberation. So it is always about letting go. as willing as you are to let go of the rope is as much as you will ascend. You cannot pedal. You cannot row. You cannot stroke or swim or jump. Because it's you doing it. And as long as you're there, it's not going to happen. The only thing that you're permitted to do is nothing. That's the only thing you're permitted to do. Is release the tendency to do something. So when the tendency to act about this energy takes place, your last act of will is the relaxation of releasing that tendency. That's letting go of the rope. You let go of the rope. Now you think if I did that, because you're talking about not doing, the world will fall apart. I won't have any money. I won't have any relationships. I won't take care of the kids. I won't have anything because I will constantly let go of the tendency to act. What will happen then? I guess letting go like that is only for the yogis in the mountains, and we worldly people, we can't get there. Well, that's wrong. The amazing part is if you let go of your personal self constantly and perpetually and completely, without any thought of anything, the energy of life takes what's left of you. And without you being the doer, things unfold and life unfolds. And you may marry, you may have children, you may not. You may be rich, you may be poor. All sorts of things happen in life, just as weather comes and goes without you doing it. Just because you let go, the weather doesn't stop. Just because you let go, life doesn't stop. Life never belonged to you anyways. You thought it did. That's why you made such a mess. The more you let go, the more it takes care of itself. The more it harmonizes itself. And you end up in what we call the Tao. Just the effortless flow of the unfolding of life. It's just quiet in the middle. But it doesn't necessarily look quiet to others. You could be a general on a battlefield, as was Arjuna and Krishna, all right, ready to do battle. But no one's really there, and no one's doing anything. But yet it's happening. I told you, it's like the leaf. When it falls from a tree, it harmonizes with the wind, but it's not doing anything. But nor is it not doing anything. It's neither doing nor not doing. It's being. And because it's being in the presence of life, it harmonizes perfectly as it falls down. That's what happens to the yogi. When they finally let go of the rope, it all happens. And they think by holding onto the rope they're going to make it happen. It's such a phenomenal paradox. So, net is, that's your choice. You have to decide what level do you want to grow. Do you want to do pseudo-growth, where you try to make your lower self look spiritual? Have fun. It's just another struggle. Then your spiritual path becomes yet another struggle. You're tired at night and you're scared when you wake up in the morning. Will I get there? I think I offended God. Am I growing? I don't think I'm growing enough. Oh my God, I got to go see somebody. All right? It's just another suffering. It's another problem. Or are you willing to die to be reborn? Are you willing to literally cease to exist in the way that you now know yourself? By every single time that chi moves, giving it space, falling back, letting go. You do not own this. It belongs to life. Let the rope belong to the earth. Let go. And the rest happens very, very quickly. Jai Gurudev.